Welcome to the latest episode of the More People Podcast. I'm your host, Richard Hanwell, Managing Director for More People. I'm thrilled today to be joined by Lucy Wilkins.
Hello.
Lucy, thank you so much for joining us. Could you just kind of bring to life your job and how you've gone from hands-on harvest assistant to a breeding program director as is now?
So I actually started out already in my summer holidays from university. So I was studying for a degree in biology at Aberystwyth University, and every summer I was just looking for ways partly to, get some money, pocket money to go back to uni with, but also to get some experience and find ways I could make sure I'd got a job when I graduated.
Yeah.
My dad was a farm manager, mum's family are farming as well. So I guess I'd always had some affinity to agriculture and wanting to help growers but really like the sciences. So I'd always sort of wondered how do you mix the two? And I went to a plant science careers day in Cambridge, and there was somebody from the company I then went on to work for explaining what plant breeding was, how they did the process, and I thought, that sounds quite interesting and quite rewarding. Can I come and have a look round? They showed me around and said, well, we do summer placements, so why don't you come and have a go? And so I went along in my summer holidays from university, really enjoyed it, learnt so much, just kept asking questions, just learned a lot about the industry and thought that sounds really interesting. And having gone back to the same company for a couple of summers, I sort of started to say, well, can I have a job when I finish university? And they were looking at the time for somebody, and they actually kept a job open for me for when I graduated. So I think just a bit of persistence as a young, annoying student that I really wanted to get into this career, that they held this job. And they also then funded me through a master's in plant breeding. So that was quite a good way to get the sort of technical knowledge that you need to be a breeder, while also getting the practical hands-on knowledge, which you can only learn by doing in breeding.
When you look back at, you studied for a biology degree, right?
Yeah.
What were the more natural, shall we say, kind of career paths that your peers went on to?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think a lot of people were doing biology because they liked the human side or the animal side. The course was very focused on cell biology, human biology, and there were only a few modules related to plants and genetics. And even then the genetics was very human focused.
Yeah,
so I think a lot of people went on to do PhDs related to cancer research, or they went into pharmaceuticals. So I think I was the only one on my cohort that ended up going down the breeding route. But yeah, I'm so glad I did.
For our audience that don't understand exactly what you do, which, I'm sure there are a fair few, would you just bring that to life for me?
Yeah, breeding's obviously a very specific career path. And the best way I can describe it is you go to the supermarket and you buy different apples, and you buy them by a brand, and in most cases that's actually a different variety. So I don't know, classic ones, Pink Lady, Gala, they are different varieties or sub varieties, and a breeder's job is to find those new varieties, develop them, create a product that both growers and consumers want and is useful, and then bring that to market. So we are involved in a lot of that process. And it starts with understanding genetics and choosing your parent lines. What are your future targets for a new variety? So you want probably less chemistry, so less pesticide input. You might want a tastier strawberry. So you start with that goal, and then you look at your parentage, choose how to make some crosses. And then from that, we then go through this process, which can take up to 9 years. So we're not looking at the problems for tomorrow. We're looking at the problems for 9 years' time.
Wow.
Yeah.
How hard is that to do with an ever-changing climate, government,
That's
you name it?
Yeah. We just have to think of everything that we would possibly want in a new variety, and then aim for that.
And who makes those calls? Obviously, there's a huge amount of research into it. I'm just thinking about the amazing amount of negotiation you've got to do. Growers, I'm sure, will think that they know best, and in many places do, right? But you've got so many different people to negotiate with.
Yeah, I think we're very fortunate that because I work for a company that's involved in every step of that process, I've got plenty of contacts that I can call upon to find out, well, what are their challenges? Where do they want to go? So we spend a lot of time working with both the growers, the retailers, and even the consumers, as well as also stakeholders within the supply chain. So, okay, we need to improve shelf life. We need to make sure that it's going to work for a propagator. And we just get all of that feedback. And I really encourage my team to get out there and learn and hear about the challenges. Yeah. And then we bring that all back, and then we use that in our selection process to find the new best variety we can.
Wow. And then obviously choose, well, dependent on which part of the world one can grow this new variety from, right?
Absolutely.
And try and piece all the pieces together. You've been doing this for a period of time, and like you say, that lifespan is kind of up to 9 years, which is it's impressive, really, but it's kind of crazy at the same time. Something that we're talking about right now, or 2034, it's going to be when it hits the shelves. But what kind of technologies, what kind of data, what kind of things have you seen change within your time?
Yeah, when I first started, we were still doing a lot of things written by pencil in a notebook, and that's where it stayed. And then you were using that to try and support your decisions on the sort of hard data that you did have. Now we've got a software solution, we've got advanced databases that can help us slice that data and dig a bit deeper in and give us better analysis to make more data-driven decisions. We've also got a lot more genetic technology. We are looking a lot more at how we can implement that technology to make our decisions more based on the core genetics rather than only what we can see. And that's quite important when you're looking at new varieties. Then you've also even now got new camera technology that can see things in plants that humans can't see. One thing we're quite focused on is how can we make our varieties more climate resilient. Yeah. And sometimes seeing stress in a plant isn't the easiest to detect. Right. And so cameras and different image-based technology can sometimes spot stress before we can spot stress. So if we can harness that and find that as a way to measure plants that actually that one is going to be more resilient if we get a hot day or a wet season versus that one, then we can select that and hopefully develop a variety which is more resilient in the future.
I'm intrigued though, so when we talk about the different types of varieties and breeds that we want to create, where does that demand come from? You said a little bit earlier about talking to the consumer. Talk me through where you decide the end goal is going to be.
Yeah, so a lot of our consumer-based information we actually work together with the retailers on. So we rely on them to give us guidance on what consumers are demanding. We also use other industry bodies to help us with that. Okay. And we do some paneling as well directly with the consumers. And we look at the trends and what people are wanting to then give us that insight. So for example, generally we're seeing that the British consumer wants bigger fruits, but not too big. They want sweet, they want value for money, and they're also looking at health benefits. Yeah. So we get that information from the retailer, and then we use that to try and help us to find those varieties that match that criteria.
But to your point, you're trying to look so far into the future, and we read and we see the massive changes in climate happening all the time. There's got to be a lot of rabbit warrens, for want of a better term, that you go down that then you've got to turn around from, right?
Yeah, it happens quite a lot. You know, you get to the end of the process and you've maybe got the most delicious tasting strawberry you've ever had. But if it doesn't yield for the grower, or maybe there's a disease weakness that becomes apparent, you can't launch that variety. So if you don't match the balance of what a grower wants and what a retailer wants, your variety will never be successful. Yeah. So you do have to have those checkpoints in, and that's part of the reason the process takes so long, is because we want to check that it is going to benefit everybody and be really confident when we launch it that this is the right variety. I've
been speaking a lot recently about getting more and more individuals into this industry, because this industry is amazing. It's incredibly resilient. There's so many platforms that people can go on to work within. How do you think we can get more people interested in a career, in an industry that you've put a lot of hard work into? And look, there's a family connection for you. I get that. But how can we as an industry get more people involved, do you think?
I think we've maybe got to shout about it a bit more. I think we all love what we do, but I don't think people know about it. I think there's probably a lot we can all do ourselves to try and promote that. And then there's probably a lot more we can do together as an industry and try and encourage those people to look at fresh produce, look at breeding, look at whatever those careers might be. But I think, yeah, definitely just telling people what we do and hopefully inspiring them to go, that sounds quite interesting.
And it is interesting. I think that there is a lot to go at. And I think it's got to start early. It's got to potentially start primary school level, potentially educate parents. So when said child comes back and says about the industry, it's not shut down straight away. Look into the future, potentially, well, you have to, 9 years ahead. But taking a look at 2026, what kind of challenges do you foresee yourselves coming up against in 2026?
I think it is a challenging time for the whole industry. If I just speak about berries for a moment, we're under a lot of pressures. The growers are under cost pressures. They've hit businesses hard, and unfortunately, at the bottom of all of what we do is the growers. And if they are not making a stable income, naturally that's going to cause a challenge for the whole supply chain. And we don't want to see those businesses fail. We want to see them thrive, we want to see them grow, and keep giving us wonderful fruit and veg. So it's worrying. I'd say we do see there are a lot of positives coming. We see a lot of opportunities. We've actually been amazed. We launched 2 raspberry varieties last summer. That had been after a period of decline in area in raspberries in the UK, and particularly in Scotland, where our head office is. Yeah. And what we now see is that with something like the right variety, that gives growers a higher yield. They also get a premium price. Suddenly they want to go and grow this variety and they can make a living off it. And now we actually see growers changing the conversation to maybe we'll increase the area of raspberries, which we haven't heard for years. So I think it's just one example from breeding, but I think it's relevant to all technology, that technology does hopefully play a role in changing some of these challenges to now be big opportunities. So I think it's something that certainly we as a business are looking at from all angles.
Just looking at your job, what's the most rewarding part to your role?
I do feel lucky. I really love my job. I love what I do. I think some of the main things that I love is when a variety is launched and it works, and you go out on farm and you see whole tunnels of your variety. It's so satisfying because you know you've done something that is actually making a difference to so many people, and that grower stood next to you going, yeah, I really like this fruit, or I'm really happy with the yield. You know, that trickles down to then when you see even things like online reviews of your variety, and you hear positive feedback from somebody sat in their kitchen that just enjoyed eating your raspberry. You think, wow, we've done something really good there, and somebody's really enjoyed what we've made.
How many people get the opportunity to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love who I work with as well.
That's quite handy. You've got to get that
I've got a great team and the business is great. So,
final question from me. What advice would you give to somebody that is potentially studying or looking to study science at university, not quite sure about what career to go into? What advice would you give them about exploring our world?
I think go and have a try. Go and do something different, try some work experience or even a summer job. There's a lot of seasonal jobs in our industry with the seasonal nature of what we do. So it's such a good way to go and have a go, see what you do enjoy. And that could be a practical role, or it could be working in a practical role, but seeing what everyone else in the business is doing and thinking, okay, I want to go and try technical or sales. So I think definitely just go and have a go, be confident, be inquisitive, find out what's out there. And there's a lot of organisations out there that can help with that as well. So
that's it. I think if people do that, I think they'll be very surprised at how many career options they have available to them that they might not have even thought about, and if they can get as much enjoyment out of their job as you do, then they're in a good place.
Definitely.
So Lucy, thank you so much.
Thank you.